In World War II, field guns and howitzers shaped every offensive. Today, we will discuss each major power's artillery. The first major power in our list is Germany, a World War I 77mm gun that appeared early and in rear areas. Light and easy to handle, but short reach made it second-rate once long duels were normal. Germany's standard 105mm howitzer for divisional explosive support. Reliable and accurate, but heavy to tow, so crews fought mud and hills. A late war 105 built from available parts on a simpler carriage to speed output. Not elegant, yet faster to produce and easier to keep moving late war. A 150mm howitzer that brought the bigger shell for corpse fire missions and strong points. Powerful, but slow to shift, so it paid off most when transport and planning were solid. A long 105mm gun for counter battery, road hubs, and deep targets. Lighter shell than the heavies, but longer reach and good accuracy when observers could spot and correct. A heavy gun built for long-range pressure on bridges, depots, and gun lines. Strong, but demanding to move and slow to set, so it worked best from prepared, deliberate positions. A 210mm howitzer for cracking fortifications with heavy, plunging shells. It hit hard, but needed tractors, time, and careful setup before it could deliver steady fire. A 6-tube rocket launcher for smoke and explosive area blasts. Crews fired quick salvos and displaced fast, letting shock, noise, and wide coverage do the work. Germany mixed barrels and rockets. Next, America brings mobile guns built for a steady, reliable supply. A compact howitzer that could be broken down for pack animals or airborne troops. It lacked the weight of bigger pieces, but put real artillery with light units in rough ground. The American 105 that powered divisional fires across multiple theaters. It was accurate, easy to supply, and quick to bring into action, so batteries could keep a steady rhythm. A heavier howitzer for deeper support and harder targets than the 105 could handle. Slower to move, but the bigger shell made it a favorite when commanders needed weight, not speed. A long-range gun for counter battery and deep interdiction, hitting roads and bridges far behind the front. Big and demanding, but its reach forced enemy moves and mistakes. A heavy howitzer built to smash bunkers and hard positions with massive high explosive. It took time to emplace, yet once firing, it could grind down targets that lighter guns barely shook. A giant 240mm howitzer was brought in for fortifications, caves, and hard points. Rare and slow to set up, but few field pieces matched its impact when the shell finally landed. Moving on, the Soviet answer is mass, toughness, and sudden volume. The 76mm ZIS-3 was built in huge numbers and served everywhere. Quick to move and simple to make, it backed infantry and direct fire, so crews trusted it. A common 122mm howitzer that delivered steady, high explosive for divisions. Tough and forgiving, it stayed effective in bad weather, even when crews were exhausted. A heavy 152mm howitzer that gave early war units serious blast power. It was strong but heavy, and retreats cost many, making surviving batteries treat it like a prized hammer. A core gun with reach and punch for counter battery and deep fires. It was heavier than divisional pieces, but it delivered long-range pressure when battles turned into artillery chess. A heavy piece that balanced range with a thick shell, useful for smashing defenses or dueling enemy guns. Not easy to tow, but reliable enough to serve for years. A 203mm howitzer designed to batter fortifications and dense urban targets. Slow to move, but once deployed, it could turn strong points into rubble through repeated heavy hits. Truck-mounted rockets that could flood an area with explosions in seconds. Precision was secondary to shock, so crews fired, reloaded later, and moved before counterfire could answer. If you enjoy this quick hardware tour, subscribe for more World War II artillery guides, nation by nation, weekly too. Up next, Britain brings a practical blend of standards, heavies, and a late rocket surprise. Britain's famous gun howitzer was valued because it did almost everything well. It moved with mobile warfare, fired fast, and stayed accurate, so it became the backbone from the desert to Normandy. An older medium gun that still mattered when range was needed more than shell size. It served early and in some theaters where newer gear arrived slowly, filling gaps in medium regiments. The main British medium gun paired good range with a heavier shell. It supported corps plans, counter-battery work, and set-piece attacks, shaping the ground before armor pushed through. A heavy howitzer created by updating older equipment into a useful 7.2-inch battering tool. It was built for stubborn targets and dense defenses that laughed at lighter shells. A late-war rocket launcher used for sudden area bombardment before assaults. It did not replace guns, but it added a sharp burst that disrupted positions. Commonwealth units also used the American 105 to smooth supply and training. It provided dependable support and fit neatly into Allied methods, proving that standardization can matter as much as design. Next on the list, Italy fought with older pieces and uneven supply on hard terrain. A common light gun, reliable but dated, with roots in earlier designs. Fine for close support, yet shorter reach and modest shell struggled against newer guns in open duels. A key Italian howitzer for steady divisional high explosive, easier to move than the heaviest pieces, so it handled daily fires when roads and trucks were scarce. A heavy howitzer for dug-in targets and tougher positions. It hit hard, but hauling and supplying it was difficult, so results rose or fell with transport and ammunition. A longer-range heavy gun meant for corps fires and counter-battery tasks. When supply held, it could be effective, but delays, shortages, and mobility limits often dulled its advantages. A medium gun that bridged the gap between old light pieces and true heavies. Better reach than the 75, but it still depended on scarce trucks and steady logistics to shine. Italy's guns often outran transport. Next, Japan fought far with fewer modern pieces and difficult towing. An older 75mm gun was kept in service because it was already common. Sturdy and familiar, but late-war counter-battery fights exposed limits in range and fire control. A lighter 75mm gun designed for easier movement by crews and animals. That mattered in jungles and hills, where getting it into position decided whether it fired. Japan's common 10cm howitzer for divisional support, delivering heavier high explosive than the 70s. It served from China into the Pacific War, often dragged through tough ground with stubborn resistance. A heavy howitzer with a serious shell weight for tough targets. It could smash positions when supplied well, but movement and ammunition supply were constant problems across islands and mountains. A longer-range 10cm gun used for deeper fires and counter-battery tasks. Accurate and powerful, but rare and heavy, it became a prized weapon wherever it landed. Across deserts, forests, and ruined cities, these guns did the grinding work. Now, let's wrap up this artillery tour together right now. From light howitzers to monster siege pieces, field artillery moved battles. Which gun stands out most to you? Comment below.